fun. We were talking with a neighbor yesterday, and I had made my pizza with the chicken crust, and actually I used muslo this time, the thigh, two thighs instead of one side of a breast meat, and I didn't notice a significant difference. I think the thigh is a little wetter, moister, but I'm just going to look at the price because I didn't notice such a difference that, well, depending. I mean, I'll look up chicken breast versus the chicken thigh and see what nutrients and or vitamins, minerals, all that. So again, if it's more fortified with the thigh, then who cares about the cost? I'll go ahead and keep doing that. And so all things considered the same. So anyway, a friend of mine, she's like looking at us and going, "Hey, you guys are pretty thin, and what are you doing?" And blah blah blah. And as soon as I showed up, she's like, "Oh, I kind of cheated today." I'm like, who cares? Man, just enjoy yourself. Hey, anytime you can fast, anytime you can cut back on any sugar at all, then do it. If not, then live a regular, normal life. So anyway, Carolina, my second daughter, didn't finish her pizza, so I cut a little piece out. I took it over to her, and she's like, "This tastes just like pizza." Yeah, guys, let me just share something with you. If I gave you bread crust and my chicken crust, about the only thing you would notice is the fact that mine has a chicken flavor, which is not off-putting, not to me anyway, I adore chicken. And the other one is more of a texture issue. And normally, people don't really like super thin crust anyway, unless you like Detroit pizzas. But where I grew up in Buffalo, the crust was pretty much wafer thin. And it did have a pretty large, a pretty big, the ones we went to anyway, had a pretty good crust. Although they do take sauce all the way to the edge. It's sweet, all right? They sweeten it. It's really a tomato paste and sugar sauce almost. I mean, yeah, they'll add oregano and such. I'd have to go back and look it up. But normally, I'll just puree my tomatoes. I add no sugar to them, and I do add quite a bit of spices. So the need to add liquid in the form of tomatoes is not necessary. And if I need more oomph, I'll just drizzle olive oil on it. Ta-da! That's all you need, and it tastes better anyway. And then, of course, just all the cheese you want, all the meats you want, all the onions you want, all the veggie you want. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, everything on a pizza is literally, I mean, I remember being a kid, and none of us really liked the crust, the edge. And a lot of us would just scrape the stuff off the top and just eat it and leave the triangle behind. I mean, I remember doing that. I was always the meat eater. It's like, can I have your meat? You're not gonna. And I would trade my vegetables for my sister's meat and stuff. And from what I remember, and then I remember eating. I would ask for everybody's fat, and I remember my mom saying, "Yeah, but by the time you're 30, you'll need to back off on that pork fat." And she told me stories. Her family came over from Poland. They were pig ranchers, quite literally, and so that what they would do is they would take a chunk of lard, pig fat, cooked, but fridged. I mean, we eat things cold pretty much in New York. I mean, it's cold. So it put a chunk of that on a Kimmelweck roll with some salt. So, I mean, that was like breakfast. And I'm looking back and I'm like, what a stellar breakfast. What an absolutely awesome breakfast. The Kimmelweck roll, but it has egg in it, and it's a grain, but when you're young and insulin sensitive, it's not a big deal, and all that fat is really going to kind of slow down your body's uptake of the grain in the first place. I mean, a lot of it's just going to fiber out, pass through. And I'm thinking to myself, where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? Why? Why did the government and everyone else have to get involved? Well, I have some hypotheses based on my studies over the last almost year here. And turns out that big food is involved in all of this, of course. The tobacco industry was involved in the smoking foobar. And big food is certainly involved in all of this. Hey, you got to make money. I don't fault you. Matter of fact, I don't believe in the government putting little stop signs or warnings or this or that, or they will bold type Calories, they will bold type cholesterol and or fats, they will bold type. Um, I think that's it. They leave proteins kind of aside because there's really nothing they can do with that. And and they'll bold type sugars. But then they won't bold type um, what they really need to bold type, and that's the carbohydrates. They just leave that alone. They're like, oh, well, it's just normal. You just have to eat those, or you're going to die. No, you don't need those, and you don't need fruit, and you don't need the rest of it. No one's taking me up on my challenge. My great friend Kathleen told me she wasn't going to go there or something in the post underneath when I shared it on Facebook. I don't exactly know what she meant by that, but that's fine. I mean, no worries. To me, it's not personal. I'm past the zealot phase. I know it works. I know it works for every human being that I've ever dealt with and has tried. Like my friend Maria, her blood pressure went down within 2 weeks. I mean, crashed within 2 weeks. Like, she feels insanely good after 2 weeks. She really didn't have a flu. So back on the story, I do read ancient literature, especially, and all of a sudden his mind's gonna, Sun Tzu, right? I think, The Art of War, and I read that book, and in there he says the warrior never starts a war that he hasn't already won. I'm paraphrasing. If you know you can't win, don't engage. Not even worth it. Lose the war. Lose the battle. Fine. Retreat, regroup, and then when you've won. So I don't put challenges out there because I'm looking for information. I put challenges out there to teach. This is my method. I have 2 ways. I do Socratic. I ask a lot of questions. I also do a lot of chess, warlike, warrior teaching methods, challenges, and prove me wrongs, and look it up yourselves, and all that kind of stuff. So, and I've had no takers because they know better. As a matter of fact, just for me, I'll go out and I'll look at banana. Banana, everyone loves bananas. Why? Because of the potassium. Got it. All right, and I will find a meat source that will give me a significant amount of potassium, whether it's in the fat or it's in the actual muscle, if it's in the liver, it's in the kidney, or if it's a fruit. Technically, fruit's a fruit, right? Avocados. That is a fruit that I will eat, absolutely. And I just, because of its saturated fat, I almost don't consider it a fruit. Not like my daughter just told me. She said fruits are actually, what did she say? Something like they're nature's candy. That's what she said. Well, I'm done with candy. I'm an adult. Okay, when you're an adult, you know what? Leave candy to kids. Now we kind of have to worry about our health and longevity and, enjoying life after we're done working our knuckles to the bone. Hey, we're in this modern world. There's got to be a time when it's time to enjoy yourself, right? So really excited about people. They've never tasted keto, they've never tasted carnivore, or they've never known that that's really what that is. Last night, for example, we went out to eat tacos, and in Mexico they'll normally give you tacos about I would say the tacos, no, all right, they're put on a tortilla pretty much around 10 centimeters in diameter, and they double them. And then this one actually had a pile of meat on it. These were really well served. If anyone wants, it's called Taqueria La Esquina in Colinas del Rio, Aguascalientes, 20010 Código Postal, if you want to look it up. It's on the corner of the second loop, and I think it's Rio. What's the street right here? Rio Nilo. There you go. Anyway, we ate there, and instead of eating both tortillas, I just pulled the one off the top. So I can normally stand quite easily 5 to 6 regular sized tortillas. These guys are almost, just to give you kind of an idea, they're 15 centimeters or so. So here I'm eating 2/3 of that, and I only ate 4 and not 6. And 2/3 of 10 is about 6 times 4, so I only had 24 carbs in the whole thing. Well, everyone's here now, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll check out today. But anyway, you get the point. The weekend's great. Everything went fine. Again, just to close out, I love hearing that my pizza tastes like pizza. And yeah, I think I like the idea of transitioning over into I'm going to transition over now into a keto recipes idea. I've hit my set point. I'm going to upload here, upload my other channel, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll get on Twitter, Facebook, and all this stuff for keto, because this is my next great passion, and I want people, at least in my generation, Gen X, and any boomer that wants to listen to me and still has kidneys left, still has their organs intact and haven't destroyed them by smoking or drinking too heavily, to at least, if they can't enjoy a long life, at least enjoy a life without inflammation and pain and suffering and doctors and drug dealers and all that. You know what I mean? So anyway, guys, we'll hit you up on the next one. Bye.